Financial stress kills more people over 50 than smoking. Let that sink in. Not heart disease directly. The stress itself. Now, before you roll your eyes and say money doesn't buy happiness, I'm not talking about becoming rich. I'm talking about something else. Something the financial industry will never tell you, because it destroys their business model. By the end of this video, you'll understand the one thing that changes when financial stress disappears. And it's not what you think. Quick legal note. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I am not your financial advisor. You know the feeling. It's 3 a.m. You're wide awake, running the numbers in your head. Can I retire? What if the car breaks down? Will my kids need money? You're exhausted, but your brain won't shut off. Here's what they don't tell you. Financial stress literally shrinks the part of your brain that makes good decisions. It's called scarcity mindset, and it's why you feel paralyzed. But here's the thing. The 1% don't have this problem. Not because they have more zeros in their account, but because they eliminated one specific variable, a variable you still have. And Wall Street craze, you never figure out what it is. Studies show that severe financial strain increases your risk of death by 61% within 6 months. 61%. That's not just stress. That's your body shutting down. Under constant pressure, your cortisol levels stay elevated. Your immune system weakens. You stop taking your medications because you're worried about the cost. And it destroys more than your health. It destroys your marriage, your relationships. You're hiding purchases from your spouse, fighting about money at the dinner table. Your kids can feel the tension. Meanwhile, the wealthy sleep like babies, not because they have $10 million, but because they have certainty. That's the variable. Uncertainty. Your brain can handle having less. What it cannot handle is not knowing if it'll last. That's why your grandfather, with a $1,200 a month pension, slept better than you. Better than you with $500,000 in a 401k. He had certainty. You have a spreadsheet and a prayer. Now here's the kicker. In 1983, corporations ran an experiment on you. They replaced pensions with 4-0-1-KS. They told you it was freedom. What they really did was transfer their risk onto your shoulders. And the financial industry made trillions managing your anxiety. Think about it. Your grandfather's company promised him a check every month until he died. They took the risk. They hired actuaries. They managed the investments. You get to figure it out yourself. How much to save, where to invest, when to retire, how much to withdraw. And if you screw it up, you eat cat food at 75. Research shows pensions deliver retirement income at half the cost of 4-0-1-KS. Half. Why? Because they pool risk. Because they have professional management. Because they eliminate the guessing game. But here's what really gets me. When this system fails you, they blame you. You didn't save enough. You spent too much on lattes. You should have started earlier. It's gaslighting on a national scale. Let me get angry with you for a second. They told you to save 10%. Max out your 401k, and everything would be fine. But they didn't mention something. The 4% rule was designed for 30-year retirements. You might live 40 years. Didn't mention that real inflation is eating 6 to 8% of your purchasing power annually. And they certainly didn't mention that their fee model means they make more money when you're stressed. 1% of assets under management. That's their game. The more money you keep invested, the more they earn. Even if you're losing sleep. Even if you're 70 years old and terrified of running out. They have zero incentive to tell you there's a better way. So, what's the better way? How do you eliminate the uncertainty? You build what I call the income floor. This is this guaranteed monthly income that covers your bare necessities: housing, food, utilities, insurance, not luxuries. Survival. For most people over 60, this is $3,000 to $4,500 a month. Once you have that, guaranteed, everything changes. From Social Security, a pension, or even annuities if structured right. And here's why. This is so powerful. The money above your floor, you can invest it aggressively. Take calculated risks. Even lose half of it, and you'll still sleep at night. Because you know you won't end up eating cat food. That's the psychological shift the wealthy have always had. They have their basics covered. The rest is play money. Let me give you a real example. I know a couple, both 62 years old. They had $800,000 saved. Sounds great, right? But they were terrified, checking their account every day, afraid to spend a dime. One market crash, and they thought they'd be ruined. We ran their numbers. Their survival budget was $3,600 a month. Social Security covered $2,800. They had an $800 gap, so they took $150,000 from there. Portfolio bought a simple fixed annuity, covered the gap. Now they had $3,600 guaranteed for life. Remaining $650,000, they invested it aggressively, 70% stocks, and they stopped checking it. Their stress dropped to zero, not because they got richer, but because they eliminated the uncertainty. They knew they were safe no matter what. That's the framework. Income floor plus worry-free zone, and it's hidden from you. Why? Because certainty doesn't need a manager. The financial industry makes $600 billion a year. Managing uncertainty. You do this once and you break free. So here's your homework. Tonight, before you go to bed, write down your survival budget. Not what you spend now. What you need to stay housed, fed, and healthy. Be honest. For most people, it's 40 to 60% less than they think. Then go to ssa.gov and run the scenarios. Claim at 62, at 67, at 70. See the difference. Now here's the critical part. If there's a gap between your survival number and your guaranteed income, you need to fill it. But this is where the vultures circle. Annuity salesmen will promise you 8% returns and no risk. Run. I'll link to a video below on the 3 red flags to avoid. But the concept itself is not the enemy. Guaranteed income is not the enemy. It's the structure that matters. You want simple. You want transparent. You want no surrender charges or hidden fees. Look, I know this sounds simple, and it is. But simple doesn't mean easy. The reason this works is the same reason it's hidden from you. The financial industry doesn't want you to have certainty. They want you anxious, checking your balance, calling them, paying fees. But when you build your income floor, you break free. And when you do, your marriage improves. Why? Because you stop fighting about money. Your health improves because your cortisol drops. You finally have the brain space to ask a different question. What do I actually want to do with my time? Instead of, can I afford to exist? That's what changes everything. If this resonated, drop your survival budget number in the comments. Just the number, no details. Let's see where everyone's at. And if you're over 60, watch the video I'm linking below on annuity scams. Watch it before you talk to anyone. Part 2 drops next week. How to invest the money above your floor without losing sleep. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Because once you have certainty, you can finally start living.